But in terms of gaining weight and losing weight, this is the equation. It is always true because I was scrolling through Instagram yesterday and I came across a video that says calories in, calories out doesn't work because of my hormones. And so at the end of this video, I'm gonna show you why that statement is inherently false, but that hormone levels do impact the equation for calories in, calories out, and you might just be misinterpreting it. And so the first thing to note with why calories in, calories out works is that a calorie is just another word for energy. It's a unit of energy. So a long time ago, a smart guy named Sir Isaac Newton came up with the laws of thermodynamics. And the second law of thermodynamics states that energy cannot be created or destroyed, only transferred or transformed, which means that if a calorie is a unit of energy, the form of energy in terms of calories cannot be created or destroyed, only transferred or transformed. In the case of our food and our bodies, calories that we eat from food gets transferred and transformed into body fat if we do not use it. If we do use it, it gets transferred and transformed into other energy, such as heat energy that leaves your body. You know how like when you exercise and you're burning through calories, you get really hot, you start to sweat, it tries to cool you down. That's because it's getting transferred and transformed into heat energy and leaves your body. I'm gonna try my best not to make this super scientific and make sure that you can understand it, but we kind of just have to go over the basics. So calorie is just another word for energy. It's a unit of energy. It cannot be created or destroyed, only transferred and transformed into other forms of energy, okay? And so the normal equation that we have for calories then, if it cannot be created or destroyed, is that there has to be a balance of it, either way or the other. This is what we like to call in the science world equilibrium, but it basically just means balance, okay? All right, so our equation is simply the calories that you take in equals the calories that you expel or that you transfer and transform that leaves your body, right? And so that would be calories in equals calories out, and that is if the weight does not change. So if everything else is equal and it's completely balanced, you don't gain weight and you don't lose weight either, okay? So it just equals each other. So how do we gain or lose weight? It's when one of these functions does not equal each other anymore, and that's where you see a change. So a change in the equation equals a change in your body weights. And so everything calories in, very, very simple. There is no way you can really take in calories just from absorbing it through photosynthesis. The human body needs to eat or consume energy through the things that we eat or drink, or it has to go through our GI system, right? And so anything calories in is basically everything that you eat or drink that has calories. Now, a lot of people, the common misconception here, especially when people are trying to lose weight, and I've done it myself a time or two as well, is that we kind of often overlook the very hidden calories. And so we might think we're only eating a certain amount of calories, and we're actually eating a whole lot more. And so if you're drinking coffee and you put in coffee creamer and some sugar, you didn't just have a coffee, which is 0 calories. You had a coffee with creamer that might be 100 calories and sugar that's another 100 calories. And so that's 200 calories that you would have thought you didn't eat, but you did. And whether you think it or not, the body knows. You can't trick the human body in terms of its metabolism, right? You can't just think or try to skate by the fact that you had something that you shouldn't have and just say, oh, I didn't have it, it's okay, or I didn't realize it. The human body realizes it, and you're gonna digest it, right? And so that's kind of like a lot of misconception where it's like, oh, but I only ate 500 calories and I gained weight. You're probably just tracking it wrong. Not a huge deal, but like you're gonna gain weight, right? So calories in literally is a very, very simple part of the equation. It's just the stuff that you consume, and you have to be as accurate as possible if you want to know exactly where your calories in number is truly at, all right? But that's only one part of the equation. So that's the simple part. Now the calories out, that's gonna be the part of the equation where all of our hormone profiles and everything that goes into that equation, where it'll manipulate it. All right, and to illustrate this, I'm gonna show you via numbers how this actually is impacted. So let's say your maintenance calories, if you were to not gain or lose weight, is set at 2,000 calories. So you eat 2,000 calories every day, you burn 2,000 calories every day, you're not gonna gain or lose weight, okay? So let's put this number at 2,000 and 2,000, right? So calories in, the stuff that we eat or drink, is 2,000 calories. So how do we get to calories out to burn at 2,000 calories? So there's four main ways that we can, as the human body, burn calories, okay? Number one is gonna be your basal metabolism. So when people talk about like my metabolism's slow or fast, and especially most people who think they gain weight, they think they have a slower metabolism. That's what's called your basal metabolism, basically the energy that it takes to keep you alive. And so I'm existing right now. I'm not eating or drinking anything. I'm not exercising. I'm not like doing any sort of intense exercise. I'm just kind of existing. That's still burning calories, right? I'm blinking my eyes, I'm moving, I can still survive. And so that goes into your calories out. It's called basal metabolism. If you were to lay in bed, wake up and do nothing the whole day, literally just stay exactly still, you're gonna burn a lot of calories throughout the day. And that's gonna be the main component of your calories. Basal metabolism, with the M swooping down, apparently. All right, so number one is basal metabolism. So let's call that number, if you were to lay in bed and do nothing and exist, you burn 1,000 calories throughout the day, right? Most people are probably around 1,500 calories, 1,000 calories. For the sake, let's just call it 1,000 calories for ease of math. That's 1,000 calories. So if you wake up and you eat and drink 2,000 calories from all the food and stuff that you eat and drink throughout the day, and you only did absolutely nothing and you kind of just laid in bed and just ate the whole day and you burned 1,000 calories, that means that you're going to gain weight because this number is higher, right? However, what are some of the things that basal metabolism is made up of that will impact and change this number? That's where hormone levels and all that stuff comes into play. Because think about it this way too. For your basal metabolism, like I said, it's the energy that it takes to keep a person basically alive and functioning, and blinking your eyes and beating your heart. Is that number going to be the same for a 5'2" ballerina that weighs 100 pounds or a 7 foot, 300 pound basketball player? Is that number going to be the same? Probably not. It's going to take a whole lot more energy to keep that basketball player functioning and alive, even if he's just staying in bed doing nothing, right? That's just a bigger dude, right? And so he's going to take a lot more energy. That number might honestly be all the way up to 3,000 calories, because that's a large human being. And so if he ate 2,000 calories, he's actually going to lose weight just from existing. Whereas the 5'2" ballerina, who's only weighs 100 pounds, she's probably only burning 1,000 calories. She's gonna gain weight eating 2,000 calories. And so I kind of want to emphasize the point too, it's not necessarily just the amount of calories that you take in as a specific number that's gonna get you to gain or lose weight. Everybody's a little bit different, right? And a large part of that just comes down to the sheer size of the human being. So what's one thing that impacts your basal metabolism? Let's call that size. That's the size of the human being, right? What's another thing that might go into it? The gender of the person, the sex of the person, right? So males on average burn more calories throughout the day as opposed to females. And what comes a large part of that? Testosterone. So testosterone in your, which is a hormone, but we'll just call it for now, we'll just call it gender. And so if you take two people of the same size, you have a male and a female that are both 5'5", they weigh 150 pounds. The female might be burning 1,000 calories, but the male might be burning 1,200 calories, right? And so that number already kind of is shifting just based on the gender of the person. So they're still gonna both gain weight at that 2,000 pounds, but the male will gain less weight than the female at that same calories, just because the calories out portion is a little bit lower on the female side than it is the male side on average. Okay, so that's number two. Another way that this goes into it, hormones. We talked a little bit about testosterone, right? And so testosterone or any sort of hormones are going to impact how many calories out you burn. A large part of that comes down to your thyroid hormones. And so people that have an overactive thyroid, they typically see a lot of weight loss. People that have an underactive thyroid, they're gonna see a lot more weight gain. And is it the thyroid itself that's causing weight gain or weight loss? No, but it's the thyroid that's impacting this calories out portion that will. And so let's kind of illustrate this with saying, you take two people that both eat at 2,000 calories, and on average, they're kind of burning both 2,000 calories, right? Now you introduce somebody, one of the persons gets an overactive thyroid, another person, that same other person, gets an underactive thyroid. The person with an underactive thyroid, their calories out now shifts down because they're not able to speed up their metabolism as a part of this basal metabolism. It goes a little bit slower because they have an underactive thyroid. And so that number might get all the way down to like 1,500 calories, right? just from your hormone levels. Is it the thyroid hormone itself that's causing you to gain weight? Well, no, it's the fact that this number is now larger than that number. Or the overactive thyroid, on the other hand, will speed up your metabolism. And now that same person eating 2,000 calories is losing weight because that number is increased as opposed to this number. This calories out is higher than the calories in. And so it's not the thyroid hormone itself that is causing weight gain or weight loss. It's the fact that it shifts this part of the equation, the calories out equation, in a positive or negative direction, whether you're losing or gaining weight respectively, right? So hormone levels, and that's just one hormone, the thyroid hormone. You might have insulin levels that affect this calories out. You're gonna have testosterone, estrogen. You're gonna have so many other hormones that interplay with this calories out portion, and this number is always gonna change. So let's say the thyroid hormone, you have like an overactive thyroid hormone, but your insulin levels are like heavily decreased, right? So you have one that's gonna speed up your metabolism, the thyroid, it's gonna speed up, and then the insulin's gonna kind of down-regulate it a little bit, and so it just comes down to a whole balance, right? And so the thyroid hormone might increase at 500. These are, of course, not exact numbers. The insulin one might down-regulate it, so this number might shift down now to 400. And then you have all these other little hormones that are gonna keep changing this number, but the end of the day is, are you gonna measure all of those hormones just to see exactly what your exact number is gonna be throughout the day? No. But it is good to know that these hormones all kind of play with that equation. So it's not the fact that calories in, calories out doesn't work. It's the fact that it's gonna change that number. And if you still want to lose weight, you're gonna have to change the calories in to reflect that. So the same person who has an overactive thyroid at 2,500 calories, if they wanted to maintain their weight or gain weight, they're gonna have to increase that number to be higher than that number, and vice versa for the person trying to lose weight, okay? So that's really kind of the main way we burn calories throughout the day, is through your basal metabolism, but there are still 3 other ways that go into calories out portion of this equation that'll impact whether you gain or lose weight. And so the second one simply is exercise. And so we know if we move around, we're burning calories. That's why when you exercise and people say, I want to lose weight, you typically exercise, right? Because it's going to increase that number. And so let's say before you started exercising, you kind of exist in your bed, you eat and drink 2,000 calories, your basal metabolism with all your hormones and your size and your gender and everything like that is going to be at 2,000 calories. Now, if you add in exercise, that number is going to go up. And let's say through exercise, you burn an extra 200 or 300 calories, right? That means that this number now goes up, those 200 or 300 calories, and the calories out number is more than the calories in number, and therefore you lose weight. And so that's how exercise goes into playing with losing weight. However, if you still exercise and you eat way more now, let's say if you exercise and you're like, oh, I want to eat a lot more because I exercise, and you end up eating 3,000 calories, you're gonna gain weight even though you're exercising. And so is exercise the thing that is causing you to lose weight or gain weight? No, it's the fact that it just manipulated the equation in the way that you would before. If you didn't change what you're eating, you were gonna lose weight, but now you ate more. And so you can't say exercise doesn't work for fat loss or for weight loss. It's just the fact that you're still eating more than your calories out. The third way that we increase our calories out portion of this equation to help us get into a more fat burning state, as people like to say, which basically just means that your calories out is higher than your calories in, is through non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Very fancy way of saying movement that's not dedicated specifically to exercise. And so here's what I mean by that. I'm standing here, I'm moving around, I'm moving my hands, I'm not exercising, but I'm still moving around, and any kind of movement takes energy to do, which is going to take calories to do, and I'm not eating them, so therefore it's coming from the calories out portion of it. It's pulling from body fat stores, which is just stored energy essentially, and that's what's giving me the energy to do stuff, okay? And so the third way to increase your calories out, to help you increase this number, to help you lose weight, is going to be your NEAT. And so what are some good ways or examples of you can increase your NEAT? Basically just going out and doing stuff, not sitting on the couch all day long, right? Clean your car, clean the house, go for a walk the dogs, go shopping, whatever case you really want to do, just kind of move around, and that number will the more you move around, the more calories you're gonna burn, because the more energy it takes to do stuff. What do you think takes more energy? To stand here all day and do absolutely nothing, or to walk around and walk the dogs? It takes energy to walk the dogs. That's gonna take energy from the calories out, so it's gonna bump that up. It's gonna be higher than that number. So let's say 100 calories comes from going for a walk with the dogs for 15 minutes. Now, our calories out is higher than our calories in. We're burning more energy than we're taking in, and that's how you lose weight. The fourth and final way that you burn calories is through the thermic effect of food, okay? And so that basically is just a fancy way of saying that it takes energy to break down the food that you're consuming. As this number increases, this number will also increase a little bit. It only accounts for like 10% of the calories out portion. Obviously, these three are gonna be the main drivers of it. However, this is gonna still increase a little bit of that number as well. And so where does this mainly come from? Mainly comes from protein. And here's the reason why. It doesn't take a lot of energy to turn fats into fat. It doesn't take a lot of energy to turn carbohydrates into other forms of energy like fats or elsewhere like blood sugar, okay? It does take a lot of energy for the body to break down proteins. A lot of enzymatic processes that it has to go in and like chop it up. Think of like your stomach content as like a butcher, and it's trying to chop up all your meat and all the proteins. It takes a lot of energy to do that. And so the more protein that you end up eating, of course, keeping in mind the calories, because your carbs, proteins, and fats are what make up these calories in. So if you shift this calories in more to protein as opposed to carbs and fats, so higher protein, lower carbs / fats. And again, I want to reiterate, that doesn't mean zero. It just means shifting it more to protein, right? That's going to increase this number to go up. And so if it's 2,000 calories from mainly protein versus carbs and fats, this calories out portion will end up going up as well because of the thermic effect of food. However, if you're eating 2,000 calories mainly from carbs and fats, this number, not really there. It's gonna kind of go down. And so then now, this number might even go down to 1,900 calories. And so that's how just shifting where the calories come from, what the calories are made up of on the calories inside, can actually impact how many calories you're burning out. Of course, is that the main driver? If out of any of the points, should you basically take to yourself like, all right, I'm just still gonna eat a lot, but if I eat 5,000 calories of protein, then I'm gonna lose weight? No, that's like 10% of the equation. Like this little bit of it counts for like 10%. I'd rather you focus on all of these three things, and of course, still try to get in your protein, hit your protein intake goals, a gram per pound of body weight, and that'll definitely help even more with the calories out portion. But definitely get all of these kind of into check. There's not too much we can do for your basal metabolism in the short term. However, the more muscle mass you have, which is again why hormone levels are important, because testosterone builds more muscles, which is why men on average burn more calories than females, and then they become bigger, which all goes into your basal metabolism like we listed. But the more testosterone you have, the more muscle mass you have, that's going to increase your basal metabolism more. So if we say muscle, so if we have more muscle, that's going to be more basal metabolism, which is going to increase this number more. And so over the course of time, people with more muscle mass are going to be able to lose weight easier because their calories out portion is a lot higher. And that's how you have people that are super, super big, think like bodybuilders, that can diet on like 3,000 calories. And you're thinking to yourself, well, how come I can't eat 3,000 calories and lose weight? My metabolism must be slow. Well, it's because they have a lot of metabolically active tissue, being more muscle than you. And that just kind of takes time to build up. But hopefully that kind of clears the picture in terms of like everything that goes into calories in, calories out. Of course, there's a lot more like little tiny nuances, all the little biochemistry that goes into it. But like the main part of it, like what are the actions you can do? Basically, exercise, move around more, eat a little bit less, and actually be accurate with the stuff that you're tracking. And then you're gonna lose weight. And this number always has to be greater than that if you want to lose weight. It can't, no matter how hard you try, even if you exercise and you're trying to push yourself, if this number is still higher and you're still eating and you're not realizing that you're eating 4,000 calories a day, even though you exercise and burned 1,000 calories, let's say you burn 3,100 calories, you're still gonna gain weight because you're still eating way too much calories. Not the amount, just the calories. So this is kind of the equation for like how you lose fat or gain fat. And then of course, nutrient partitioning and muscle mass, and like where does that energy actually go towards if you're exercising? Does that excess energy go to muscle? Does it go to fat? That's all kind of little nuances. But in terms of gaining weight and losing weight, this is the equation. It is always true because calories in versus calories out is just an energy equation. Energy cannot be created or destroyed, only transferred and transformed. And in the case of the human body, if you don't use it, it gets transferred and transformed into body fat as stored energy. And so that is how you gain body fat. And then if you want to lose it, you just have to shift the equation in the manner that you're doing it, which can be through any of these things or that.